Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes, a channel that is delaying me for an entire day from watching the Bad Batch premiere. This is a talk video about Echo's kit reveal and the developer notes. We're also going to wrap up with the free-to-play gearing of my roster. First up, the breakdown of Echo's kit. The way that we like to do on this channel, I like to pull out all the extra information from the kit text that CG puts in and just focus in on some keywords to really understand what is going on with this kit and how it's going to interact with the other Bad Batch. First up, the basic daring defense. It's a targeted attack that grants evasion up and defense up to the weakest clone ally, and the way that's going to function, if a weak clone ally has evasion up already but doesn't have defensive up, they'll get defense up and a different ally will get the evasion up if they don't have it. So it's not going to be just going to one character. That's in the developer notes. On top of that, we see a bunch of redundancy here with the evasion up and defense up. It's nice that it's on the basic so that all these other kits start really getting interwoven. First special, one step ahead, inflicts a buff immunity on target and inflicts an AoE expose, which is going to synergize nicely with Hunter. Targeted clone ally will cleanse and will be called to assist. If it's a Bad Batch ally, the buff immunity won't be able to be dispelled, and Echo will increase the target enemy cooldowns, and that can't be evaded. Second special, never any doubt, clone trooper allies are going to gain evasion up, dispel all enemies, and inflict daze and healing immunity. For each buff dispelled, clone trooper allies will gain 10% offense until the end of next turn. So if they're assisting during that period, they're also going to be able to do that 10% offense. And then Bad Batch allies will gain 5% turn meter, which can't be evaded or resisted. The unique with the Zeta, one that survives, and I like this unique. When a clone trooper ally gains or loses a buff from a Bad Batch ally's ability, they recover 4% health and protection, which is doubled for Bad Batch allies. And when a Bad Batch ally inflicts a debuff, that enemy loses 8% protection. And if the enemy is less than 50% protection and greater than 50% health, they also lose 8% health. So we see a bunch of redundancies. We also see a lot of recovery being added to the entire Bad Batch and clones, which other than Shaak Ti was definitely needed. And then we see some nice damage that is going to be constantly occurring. Very powerful kit, very interesting. And even though they say this is going to be a nice defensive team, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play offensively just because of how complicated it is. And I think one of the reasons it's going to work well defensively is because of all the redundancies that are built in with all these abilities, not just with Echo. They all have multiple ways to, either with Wrecker, like multiple ways to taunt. There's multiple ways buffs are being inflicted. There's multiple dispels, multiple stealths. It's going to be very easy for the AI to not mess things up because of those redundancies. Now, a quick read through of the kit. So we have Echo, which was a surprise. Everyone was expecting Crosshair. I still think they could have done Crosshair. Usually they don't have information of what is to come from Star Wars. So and the way they've designed these kits were based on Season 7, so I was expecting more like this was Season 7 Bad Batch. I haven't watched the episode yet, so I don't know what's coming, but I'm going to be watching as soon as I wrap this video up. So first, the basic daring defense, the targeted attack, which is adding buffs to the clone troopers, which is going to synergize with Wrecker, with Hunter, especially Hunter's lead. First special, one step ahead, inflicting the buff immunity, thinking about particularly with the Separatist and Grievous, where it's clear this team is going to be very powerful against. This being used on IG-100 has some sense, so that he can't, that taunt doesn't keep working on IG-100 when he counters. That way that'll get shut down, so you can focus on the rest of the team. Plus, inflicting that AoE expose opens up the rest of the Bad Batch to the next turn. I don't care as much about increasing cooldowns though on IG-100, but I guess potentially that will prevent IG-100 from dispelling any of the Bad Batch buffs, since that third special or second special on IG-100 does the dispel. Second special, Never Any Doubt. So I think this is the second ability that has like an object come in game. Like the armor does that as well. I can't think of any other examples right offhand, but we get another dispel of all buffs. We're inflicting daze and healing immunity, which is great on teams that are generating turn meter like Grievous. And one of the things that a lot of players have been testing out is how are these guys going to work against rebels, which on occasion some players have been able to get to work to counter CLS. But now with this daze and with this healing immunity, there might be a little bit more viability there. I kind of would prefer CLS to still be better than this team, but I'm seeing some additional potential for that to occur, or at least lower the risk of it failing. And I like this Zeta. This is really powerful. It's going to be a lot of fun. I still think we have the 3v3 team is going to be Tech, Hunter, Wrecker, but Echo really boosts this team up and makes them better. But you can see if you were to remove Wrecker or Tech, the team doesn't function as well. What Echo really does is just boost this team up to another level. And usually with the developer insights, there's a nugget or two that I think gives clues to how to use them. This time though, I didn't find something that I thought made me think about Echo or the kit a little bit differently. They do have a note here about Crosshair, but it's something that I haven't read yet. The other big piece of information that came out today was the early game experience update. This I primarily talked about in my new account video, so I'm not going to I'm not going to repeat what I said there, but I do want to highlight a couple things in case people don't watch that video. One, the art changing on Anakin. This is basically confirms for me that Maul is not going to be the Galactic Legend. The scar has been removed from Anakin's face, which opens up the game for bringing in Fallen Anakin. I've been convinced by a lot of the other arguments now that Fallen Anakin will be the character, although I was heavily biased towards Maul. I like Maul way more. The prequels, I was in high school when the prequels came out, and they did not mean all that much to me at that time. I watched them, I was excited for them, but I was very disappointed by them. So Fallen Anakin, I don't think means as much to me as a Star Wars fan as other players. I was very much an original trilogy kid. But we do have Anakin here. The other things to talk about, the different starting characters. This is great news. It basically cements that Moff Gideon and the Troopers should be the go-to starting team. Phoenix should be the light side team. At low levels, when I was doing Troopers with a new account, it was difficult for the Troopers as they existed at that time without Moff Gideon and without Dark Trooper for them to handle the Phoenix. The Imperial Troopers were great as an attack team. They did a ton of damage, they had those assists, but they couldn't really handle the protection up from Phoenix or the recovery. They'll do better with Moff Gideon, but it might be a timeout. I'm interested to see how they handle each other in the starting game. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Phoenix give them a little trouble early on. Afterwards, as the team develops, Moff Gideon is going to handle them no problem. But early on, I think it won't be so simple. The other portions here with the different farms on the nodes, I'm definitely taking advantage of getting double drops of Dark Trooper right now. Very happy to see it. The other things that I think are worth talking about is I'm working on a farming video right now. I'm going to tweak that farming guide to account for some of these things, but they're fairly minor. It's nice that Jedi Knight Anakin is not going to be annoying to obtain in the early game, but the rest of these characters weren't that difficult. They more took out the useless characters. Stormtrooper Han moving to the Squadrina store is way better than, or moving from the Squadrina store to the Cantina store is way better, because there's a lot of good farms in the Squadrina store, and not having to choose between a lot of those good farms is going to be helpful. There's less significant farms in the Cantina battle store, but there'll be plenty of time to farm Stormtrooper Han after. I would definitely be making either Boba Fett my first farm out of the Cantina battle store because of how important the credit heists are, or I would be farming the Stormtrooper. And we have not done a gearing of my roster in a couple weeks, but we'll do that now. First, we are going to farm a couple of these Dark Trooper shards. I'd already used a lot of energy today, so I wanted to wait until later in the day before I hit this node a couple more times, because I wasn't sure how many times we would need to do a refresh, and we don't, but because tomorrow we still got double drop, I'll buy this. I always do through the 50. I've got plenty of crystals. Like, my crystal income is 150 to 200 in Squadrina, depending on how much time I give myself to climb, and then I get 400 in Fleet Arena, so I'm getting about 550 to 600 every day. Now with the gearing, I'm still working on recovering from the Galactic Legends and unlocking Jedi Master Luke. I do have the ultimate ability there. I'm slow playing the Relic 7 just because I'm not really having trouble in Squadrina right now. It's more a time issue than a gearing issue. Tech, I want up a little bit faster. So he needs this stun gun. I'm taking him up. But I don't have the Kairos to bring him up further, but I have the rest of the Bad Batch are sitting at gear 9. Soon. I'm going to get them up soon. I am going to take Padme up to Relics. I've been needing her for a very long time, but it has been something I've been delaying for as longer than I should, really. The next relics, I'm probably going to do Nest next. Sith Trooper, these pieces are awful. And Kylo, I really want Kylo for when Grand Arena divisions expand, because he can handle Old Republic on his own. Nest can handle some weaker Padme teams on his own. So I really want to make sure I have all the characters that can handle some solos. The armor I'm going to have done after reset. I still have a couple hours until the reset occurs. Dark Troopers here for the farming. The rest of these characters, really Bo is the only one I really want to take to another level. The problem is it's all these stun cuffs, because it's 150 stun cuffs at this level, and then the one Kyrotech. We're just gonna do it. I want to be done. So So that gets Bo to that staging ground that I like to have all my characters at. And now I have all of the new characters except for the Bad Batch at Gear 11. So now I can focus on the Bad Batch, which is really what I want to do. Because I suspect this team, kind of like Moff Gideon and the Imperial Troopers, is very usable at lower gear or at Gear 11. I think this Bad Batch team is going to be usable at 3 stars in Gear 11. So after Echo's in-game, I'll start focusing on these guys. Although Wrecker is not at Gear 9. I thought he was at Gear 9. It means he probably has Kairos at Gear 8. Yeah, that's why he's there. Also, used up a ton of holo projectors getting to Galactic Legends. Now what I'm looking at is building up more relics, and I want to get these other characters at that Gear 11 staging ground. I'm getting pretty close to having every character at Gear 11, or at least every usable character at Gear 11. Almost all the Galactic Legend requirements are at Gear 11. So on the stun cuffs, I'm at what, 300 now? Yeah, just about. You know what? I'm going to bring him up. Quill is still at Gear 10, and Cara Dune, I think, is at Gear 10, but IG 11, since he's tanking, is a little bit more important. They all need the same stuff. They all need stun guns and cuffs, and I don't want to give them to them. So I think we're going to hold off there. The only other thing I think I might do is I might just put these Bad Batch Zetas on. I'll wait until after Echo's in game. We're going to call it there. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the support everyone's been giving on here and on Discord. We're pushing hard to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and there's a lot of videos I need to get out in that time. I want to get this channel to that monetization threshold to justify a lot of the time and effort I put in here. So if you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would. Also, the links here for these 2 videos here, one is for the CLS lowest viable team video. Just click on that, throw it into a separate tab, hit mute on it, it's fine. I just want the algorithm, YouTube's algorithm, to start finding and recommending that video. I asked for this before in the C3PO video, and it really worked. Now my C3PO lowest viable teams video is one of the top 4 or 5 videos that gets recommended. So I'd like to get all these lowest viable team videos into that point with the algorithm, because it's really how a ton of people find this channel. So thank you again, everyone. This has been Still Plays. Be safe out there and be excellent to each other.